It's time for us to break up. I just feel like we've outgrown each other, you know?
What? Why?
Well, it just seems like we want two different things out of life, and we just don't have the same goals or values or paths anymore. So I just feel like it's time for us to end it here.
Are you serious? What the? Who do you think you are? I made you. I am you. You're nothing without me. You wouldn't be here without me. You know what? You ain't leaving me.
Breaking up with your old frequency doesn't need to be that dramatic. In fact, shifting frequencies can happen without the tears, without the fight, and with full-on joy and alignment. The reason why that doesn't seem to be the case with most people is because they are trying to force their reality to change through only positive thinking. So if they want to get into a healthier relationship, they'll say, like, I am attracting my soulmate. If they want to make more money in their business, they'll say, I am consistently attracting clients. I am a match for 50K months. Or if they are wanting to, get healthier, they'll say, I have never felt stronger in my life. And they're saying these positive statements, but from their old frequency. So it always is going to be this like resistance, this pull, this push and pull internally. So it's not until you break up with your old frequency will you start to experience exponential results. Well, you'll start to experience results that don't make sense because you'll align with your ideal reality quicker than you could ever imagine. I know this firsthand because for a very long time, when I first started my business, I thought it was about do, have, be, right? So I thought it was like, if I do more, if I show up more, if I post more, if I'm reaching out to more people, then I'll get the clients. And once I get the clients, then I'll be fulfilled. Then I'll feel happy. Then I'll feel abundant. Then I'll feel worthy. But it's not until you be, which is by breaking up with your old frequency and just stepping into the frequency of having it. So it's not until you be that you can do, right? That doing becomes inevitable because you're being it and then you have it. So I had the structure wrong. So once I stopped focusing so much on my output and I started to focus on who am I being, right? By breaking up with my old frequency, that's when I started to get consistent income in my business. I started to attract the best clients. And I just started to have so much more fun in my business. When it comes to this be, do, have, when it comes to breaking up with your old frequency, it's really going to come down to understanding that you are in a vibrational reality. I know you hear it all the time. This is a vibrational reality. But what does that really mean? And what does that have to do with your old frequency? Well, first, let's talk about what exactly. Oh, this is my lovely. Can you see her? My lovely. She was a little baby. But let's go into so what does it mean to exist in a vibrational reality? And what does that have to do with you breaking up with your old frequency? Well, let's go into the third Hermetic principle, which is the principles about creation. The third Hermetic principle states that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. You live in a vibrational reality. What looks like it's stable is actually a bunch of atoms that are vibrating together. And based on the rate of vibration is what's going to give you the form. So another example, let's go into states of matter. So when we're looking at states of matter, and I think this is an amazing example, is we have ice, water, and liquid. What do all of these have in common? They're all the molecule H2O. But they appear different based on their rate of vibration. Now, we don't have to talk about what affects the rate of vibration, which is temperature and everything, but what we know is that it's just atoms vibrating. So in your reality, it's all one thing. It's all you. It's all consciousness. It's all awareness. It's all mind, but it appears differently and it appears as if it's separate from you, or it appears as if it's solid and real based on the rate of vibration. So everything vibrates, right? So when we look at these solid molecules, the molecules are vibrating really tight together, which creates the ice. And then in liquid, the temperature rises, the molecules start to vibrate loosely, and then in gas and then in the last one, in gas, the molecules are vibrating very loosely and they have so much air to move around, and that's when you get gas. So it's the same substance, It's just dependent on the rate of vibration. And that is what's going to give it its actual structure. Okay, so that is your reality. And that is so important to understand when it comes to breaking up with your old frequency, because you could be operating, and let's go into the map of consciousness, because when we're thinking about the ice, water, and steam example, let's go into the survival. Let's compare that to like ice. And then reason and integrity, we can say that's water. And then the spiritual paradigm, we can say that that's steam. Okay? So what this means is that when you are based on your rate of vibration, your old frequency is just vibration. When you are operating in the paradigm of like guilt, shame, apathy, fear, desire, anger, you are, your rate of vibration is slow, right? So things feel very fixed. They feel sticky. They feel like stuck, right? This people say, I feel stuck. It's because of the frequency that they are operating in. But when you start to raise your vibration by breaking up with your old frequency, you turn. It's not just like, oh, you start to melt. There's literally such a huge jump between ice and water, right? They look totally different. You think about an ice structure and you think about a river. It's totally different. And the same thing happens to your life when you start to break up with your old frequency. It's not just going to be a little difference of like, oh, wow, something's different about you. Right? People looking at you and they're going, I don't know what it is, but something's different. No, it's going to be such a complete, total shift in your reality because of the fact that everything is just vibrating. Right? And that is just amazing news for you because it's malleable. It's not fixed. If you're operating in these lower paradigms, right? If you're operating in a survival paradigm, it can seem fixed. But that's just the frequency that you have to break up with so that you can start operating in these higher paradigms and see that, oh, wow, all of this is actually very malleable. All of this is actually like I can change anything that I desire, right? So that is why it's important to understand the rates of vibration. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact steps to gently, peacefully, and powerfully break up with your old frequency so that you can step into the vibration of your desired reality. This video is going to be broken down into 3 parts, and in each part we're going to be talking about first, knowing thyself. Second thing we're going to be talking about is how resistance is actually an invitation. And the third thing we're going to be talking about is how your network is everything. So let's dive right on in. The first thing we're going to be talking about is knowing thyself. And knowing thyself is so important to everything that your spiritual journey is going to involve. Everything your journey of life is going to involve is the foundation is knowing thyself. Actually, Rupert, tell them.
Then should we not know the nature of ourself before we know any other thing? Could there be a more important question than to know the nature of ourself? And it is for this reason that the words know thyself were carved above the temple of Apollo at Delphi, because this understanding, the importance of self-knowledge, stands at the very foundation of Western civilization. I would suggest that self-knowledge is the most important knowledge that anyone could ever attain. And anything we know about the universe is filtered through our knowledge of ourselves. We can't really understand the nature of the universe before we understand the nature of ourselves. So, yes, self-knowledge is the most important, the highest knowledge, and the greatest service. To know the truth about oneself must therefore be the greatest service one could render humanity.
So self-knowledge is the beginning of all wisdom. Ancient philosophers, ancient mystics, Sufis, monks, all of these ancient religious doctrines required the basic understanding to be knowing thyself. Because if you try to speed through to get all these spiritual goodies to start to redesign your life without the basic knowledge of knowing who you truly are, it's futile, right? This is why people experience so much of getting their desires and then it's like slipping out of their hands. Why do you think that is? It's because they are building on, like they're building their house on sand, on quicksand. So they have the tools and the wisdom. So you know, I no doubt you know how to create your ideal reality. It's not that you need more affirmations. It's not that you need more practices, more tools. The foundation of knowing thyself should be solid, so that when you break up with the old frequency, it's easier because you're just returning to truth. You're not just like putting the old frequency behind you and then trying to, an example I shared in my group was like painting over mold, or trying to, what Neville would say is like pour new wine in the old wine glass. You can't do that because the molecules and the particles from the old wine are still there. So you're pouring this new wine into the old wine, and then it's getting mixed, and then that's the resistance. You just want to break up with the old frequency once and for all. And this is going to be by having this foundation of knowing thyself, of knowing the truth of who you are. Knowing the truth of who you are is going to do so much more magic for breaking up with your old frequency than trying to think your way out of it. The other day, I was washing dishes and I could feel like this lump in my throat, and my head was kind of banging and pounding. And I looked behind me and I could see my partner and our daughter, and they were just like chilling, and I felt so much frustration with where I was, right? I'm looking at them even through the frustration, and then thoughts around how things should be different just berated my consciousness. And immediately what the old frequency wants to do, because it's so sneaky and it's so clever, is that it wants to pretend that it's helping by adding more thoughts. No, everything is okay, I'm good, I'm fine, everything, those thoughts begin to play. But then I said, wait a minute. And I just remembered that I am the awareness, I am the observer. I'm observing all of these thoughts, and I am before these thoughts. I am before, in between, and after these thoughts. One thought comes and it goes away, yet I remain. So through just constantly taking my attention to what is before, in the middle, and after each of these thoughts, it started to settle on its own. This is the be, do, have. So I became in vibrational alignment with the fact that everything is working out for me, that I don't have anything to worry about, that all is well. And from there, the right thoughts got signaled to me, and then I could place my attention on them. But it wasn't by fighting. It was by knowing thyself, knowing that I am not these thoughts, okay? So let's go back to the Hermetic principles. So the first Hermetic principle is that the principle of mentalism, which means that everything, we're going to go here, everything is mind, the universe is mental. That means that there is no out there. There's only in here, being projected as an out there. And for a while, I've commonly heard people kind of get this confused with this idea that, everything is mind. And this is why they get so caught up in changing thoughts. I need to change my thoughts to change my reality, because they think that mind is associated with thoughts. But let's think about mind as awareness, right? Because that is really what they mean. The universe is mental. It means that the universe is being projected from awareness, okay? So I love this picture. I've used this picture before in a thumbnail, but I love this picture because this is the misconception. You have a misconception that you, as the person, you are the one that is aware, right? You have awareness. Awareness is being generated from your brain. Consciousness is being generated from your brain. That has been debunked by science. Consciousness is not being projected from the brain. The brain is being projected in consciousness. So this has been the common view. Let's use another color, shall we? This has been the common view, is that you are a person. Don't. So this has been the common view, that you are a person who has awareness. But that's just not the case. What science has found, and what ancient mystics have been saying for the longest, is that awareness is projecting the person, right? Person appears inside or upon awareness. How do you know? Because put your hand behind your back. Now put your hand out. You are aware of your hand. Put your hand away. Now you're no longer aware of it. So you think that awareness is being filtered by the body. Even like close your eyes. People will say, no, I am aware because I can see, like I'm aware. Close your eyes. There is still a subtle sense of awareness. Yes? You're still aware. You're aware of sounds. You're even aware of darkness. You're aware of feeling. So awareness is prior to everything. Everything comes and goes. Awareness stays. We'll go more into an example. So awareness is prior to the appearance of the person. Awareness is full stop. I love this. Awareness is full stop. Person appears and disappears in awareness. Like I said, your hand appears and disappears in awareness. Even your body, it appears and disappears in awareness. It's this book. It's called On Having No Head. I'll put it here, but it's just about how like you have the idea of having a body gets projected into the field of awareness. That's actually not there, because when you don't think about having a body, if you don't think about your thigh, you don't know that you have a thigh. It's not until you start to think about it and then you place your attention on it that all of a sudden this idea of having a thigh comes along. But that is projected. That this is what the first law means by all is mental. Okay, like to really break that down, it's not that the thoughts are creating it. It's the fact that consciousness itself is creating it all. Okay, so person, you in actuality, you are awareness. The good news, not the appearance, not the person who appears and disappears. You are the awareness, and this is how you again begin to know thyself. And another way that I want to give another example, and this is like one of my favorite examples to give, is the fact, like let's use the TV screen for this, right? For the fact that you are awareness. So with a TV screen, the TV screen is prior to experience. The TV screen is there when experience appears and after experience appears. The TV screen is just there. All of a sudden what happens is that things begin to appear on the screen. And it seems as if, ooh, let's have some fun and get the drawing. You feel? Okay. It seems as if a world appears and it's veiling the TV screen. So where did the TV screen go? Right, a little car. Let's give Buddy a community of people he rock with. Right. So it's like and this is what's happening to you. A world is appearing on your screen of awareness and is seemingly veiling the screen, right? Let's say this screen is awareness. I was writing. I had my hand there. But the screen is awareness. Come on, S. The screen is awareness, which is your I am. I don't know why here it just has a problem. So the screen is awareness, which is your I am. It gets veiled by objects, feelings, thoughts, perceptions. It gets veiled. So when it gets veiled, awareness seemingly goes away. But none of this, like TV screen, nothing would appear without that screen. I don't care what's on the screen. The screen is prior to and is needed. So let's say in this example, the house catches on fire, right? House catches on fire. Let's even say all these people catch on fire too. Just for the fuck of it. Just for the fun of it. All of this stuff catches on fire. Does anything happen to the screen? No. The screen is just there holding the space. So then all of that catch on fire, all of it goes away. Let's erase. All of that goes away. All of that goes away. So now, never has the screen been affected by because now a new story can come up, which tends to happen in your life. Like there's a circumstance of chaos and destruction. And you're like, oh my God, this is it. It's really over for me. Because you're identifying with the images on the screen, forgetting that you are beyond images. Come on, buddy. Oh, that's because I still got this. Forgetting that you are beyond images. You are the screen itself. You are not affected by what's appearing on the screen. Because it's going to come and it's going to go. It's impermanent. So if I was a gambling woman, I would always bet on awareness. I am. on the screen of awareness. I would never I would never gamble and put all of my happiness and my fulfillment in the hands of what comes and goes. And for a lot of you, that's exactly what you're doing when you are trying to create these new lives, is that you are negating awareness and just going straight to trying to create from the images in the screen. You are not the images. You are not the image on the screen. You are the awareness. So just go straight there. And that's how you're going to break up with your old frequency. But this is the foundation. It's important to know this so that, like Jesus said, do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourself treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart is also. So this just goes back to having a solid foundation. Because if you're building from the limited self, from the small self, you're trying to break up with your frequency from the small self, it's impermanent. It's not going to last. The shift, the change is not going to last. Because this is where moths and venom come in, destroy. This is where thieves break in and steal, in the impermanence. So when I talked about you having these results and like they're not lasting long, for example, you manifest a new client or unexpected money, everything is going good for a while, and then all of a sudden you right back where you were. All of a sudden you probably got less money than you did before. Why? Because you were building, you were storing your treasures on earth where moths and venom destroy. You were storing your treasures still from the old frequency. You weren't going to the I am. You weren't going to the truth of who you are. Do you hear me? If you hear me, say I hear you in the comments. Let me know you still here. Let me know you still here. This is going to be the longest section. After this, we'll go quickly, but this is the foundation. This is always going to be the foundation, is knowing the truth of who you are as I am in order to break up with your old frequency, period. Okay. Another example, you meet someone new, it feels magnetic, everything is going well, then all of a sudden the same insecurities show up. You even find yourself in the same patterns, and you're like, every time I get in a relationship, it's the same thing. They cheat on me. They abuse me. There's always trust being broken because you did all the practices in order to get them. But then once you got them, because you were not building your treasures in heaven, where your heart is also, because you were not building from the knowing that you are awareness itself and not what's appearing in awareness, the old frequency never went anywhere. It was still there, holding your hand, giving you a little bit of leverage for things to appear different, so it could say, never mind, here I am. To place your treasures in heaven is to place your treasures in what is eternal. Okay, what is solid. From here, shifting frequencies isn't about drama or force or just going back and forth. It's just about remembering the truth of who you are. All right, I feel like I harped on that enough. Let's go on to the second point, chapter 2, which is resistance is an invitation. Ooh, so many of you experience resistance and you feel like it means that something's wrong. You feel like it's an indication that you should pull back, slow down, throw the towel in. But really it's an invitation that you are meeting up with your old, like your old frequency is loud. Because for so long, the frequency, this denser frequency that is slowing things down, that is keeping you stuck, that is making you believe that, things are not working out for you, or that's just like preventing you from being in your ideal reality. This is going under the radar. So you don't even notice it. You don't even notice that there's this, like you feel this subtle disconnect and you don't even know why. But when the resistance shows up, it's because two sides of you are in total disagreement. And that's great, because now you see like, okay, but what am I in disagreement with? And then you get the opportunity to now make another choice. You get the opportunity to fix your attention on the reality that you actually want. That is the power of resistance. That is why resistance is such an amazing invitation. And in Neuro's book, Outsmarting Reality, he says, oh shit, my boyfriend just got here. Your old frequency is a living entity with its own psychology and its own goals. So long as you are unaware of how it thinks, you will always be a step behind, unconsciously driven towards its goals without realizing it. Its only goal is to keep you within an old reality, the one that you are seeking to escape. All those times when it felt like your life was spiraling out of control, it was always in your control, but unfortunately in the control of the old frequency. I love this so much because he's just speaking to the fact that the old frequency is, its job, its goal is to keep you in alignment with it. Is to stay alive because it is an entity. And like, what is every human, every species, what is their number one fear? Their number one fear is death. It's everything is seeking to survive, especially your old frequency. So as long as you are unaware and when there's no resistance, you're unaware because you're thinking everything is cool, even though it may be subtle that like there's a life out there for you. There's, you know that there's a version of yourself who is experiencing the life that you want, who is in the relationship that you desire, who is making the type of money in their business that you know is possible. They are speaking on stages. They're traveling the world. They're able to support their family. They're in the best shape of their life. They're making the best decisions when it comes to their mental health, to their diet. That version of you exists and you know that. But maybe it's just subtle. And there's like this subtle annoyance, but it's not big enough to call to your attention. So when resistance shows up, it's like there is two polar opposite desires present right now. And that is why I'm feeling this push and this pull. So because resistance is here, it's showing me where the resistance is, showing me the beliefs that are present, right? So for example, or like the old frequency is really loud because the new frequency is starting to get loud as well. That is what resistance means. And when resistance shows up, that means that you are right on the cusp of a quantum leap, because in this moment you have the choice to choose differently, right? So that is why I love resistance. I love when resistance shows up, right? So resistance is a great sign that you are changing and that you are aware, right? Let's talk about what else resistance is. So resistance it's a sign that you are changing. Jesus, I don't know why this, y'all, this handwriting look crazy. It's a sign that you are changing. Excuse my handwriting, y'all. Let me see if I can get a proof that shift is taking place. Does that look a little better? Okay. So it's a sign that things are changing. It is proof that a shift is taking place. And it's just an opportunity to choose differently. And the way that you choose differently is, you guessed it, from the point that we talked about earlier, is by being aware of it. So let's go back to another quote that Neuro has in his book. He says, awareness is the only way you escape the clutches of your old frequency. The moment you are aware, a pathway that was once hidden opens itself up, giving you the option to live by design instead of default. Within the adversity that reality presents to you, there is a choice, and that is to live by default or design. Default pertains to the old frequency that expects you to react. Reacting to reality will always lead to the old frequency because you are strengthening it, right? You are strengthening that loop of, this shows up, I respond in this way, and when I respond in this way, that loop gets stronger. Design pertains to the new frequency that expects you to respond. Responding to reality will always lead to the new frequency. Okay, so this is the power of awareness, is when you are present, when that resistance shows up and you just go to the I am, you get out of the drama of what the thoughts are saying and you just can simply observe what's going on. You are beyond the thoughts. You are the living, breathing awareness, right? Let's go back to this screen. You are awareness, envisioning all of this. So you don't have to get caught up in what the thoughts are saying anymore. And that was the old way. That's how your frequency was having a hold on you, was because you would react to the condition, and then you just strengthen that loop. The more you react, you giving a point to it, like, or you're throwing like let's imagine two tubs, right? Actually, let's draw this. Let's imagine there are, two tubs. Let's go green. I haven't used green. Let's imagine there are two tubs. And every single time, this is your old frequency. And this is your new frequency, right? This is the new reality that you are going into. And every single time reality presents you with something and you respond in the way of the old frequency because you're not really aware of it and it's just very automatic and it's unconscious, then you put like a weight in it, right? And whatever is the heaviest is what starts to shape your reality and is the lens through which you view reality. And then you put a couple in here, but because this is heavier, this becomes the dominant, your state, right? Never talks about state. So this becomes your state of being because you just keep cycling that loop and giving it more and more weight. But when you notice, there's resistance. There's a lot of resistance that's showing up. Let's say when it comes to reaching out and getting more leads, posting content. And then you notice that there's so much resistance to doing it. Because I feel like that's the best place to be in. Because some people, they're very apathetic, right? And we can even go back to the consciousness scale where people are in apathy. It's better to be in like anger or desire than to be in apathy where it's just like hopeless and like, why? I don't even care to do it. Whatever, who cares? But when you get into that anxiety, this fear, that's good. That is amazing because now you are aware of, there's resistance because there's a part of me that don't want to do it. There's a part of me that wants to do it. So this is an invitation for me to choose differently. And the way that I'm going to choose differently is just by being aware and staying in the seat of awareness, which I'm going to talk so much about inside of my live masterclass happening this Saturday, September 27th, 5 p.m. Denver Mountain Time. So if you are interested in how to, we're going to be workshopping these. I have so many videos about how to get into the state of awareness, which is through self-inquiry and things like that. But if you want to workshop and do this in real time so that you can have exponential growth towards your desires, if you're a female entrepreneur, then this masterclass is for you. So definitely check it out. Link is down below. Now, resistance is your best friend. I'm telling you right now because it's an invitation for you to go into the new reality, for you to make a better choice. Okay? So let's go into the last of this conversation, which is chapter 3. And chapter 3 is your network is everything. When I was in AA, when I used to do the 12-step programs, they said, they used to always have this saying, right? One, they would say, you got to change your playmates and playground. Change your playmates and playgrounds, which means change people, places, and things so that you don't go back into your old habits. And another saying that they used to say all the time is like, if you sit in the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. Sit in the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. And that's the same thing with your old frequency. If you sit around people who mirror back to you your old frequency, why would you break up with it? Why would you want to depart from it? So that's why your network is everything. Because when you are around change makers, when you are around innovators, when you are around trailblazers, when you are around people who refuse to settle for a life that is not in alignment with their highest good, that is not in alignment with their fullest joy, that is so yummy and delicious and just sets their soul on fire. If you are not around people who normalizes that, who normalizes the fact that why wouldn't you go after that, then you're going to stay married to your old frequency. You're going to stay in a relationship to your old frequency. So I highly encourage you And this section not going to be that long, because I'm just highly encouraging you to get around people who can mirror your beliefs back to you, who dream and think even bigger than you, who are going even bigger than you, because that's going to help you normalize your new frequency quicker than anything, quicker than, having the best belief tapes, saying affirmations all day, doing visualization every day, doing the nervous system expansion work, doing nervous system regulation. Because if you could just recalibrate your nervous system's baseline by being around other people who have big visions, that happens so much quicker. Right? It's the same, with women. When we are around other women long enough, our cycles start to sync up. Your beliefs start to sync up when you are around people who dream big enough. That's why it's so important to never want to be the wisest person in the room, the smartest person in the room, because you're not elevating, you're not progressing, you're not sharpening, mastering your skill set when you are around people who have a smaller skill set than you. Not saying that you shouldn't be around them, because you can be a leader for them, right? But some people, they get off on it. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that motion with getting off, but they get off on it, right? They love being the smartest person, the wisest person in the room. It fuels their ego, but it doesn't help them get to the next level. It doesn't help them get even more in alignment with their big vision and their big goal. So I want you to start being the smallest fish in the pond. I want you to purposely put yourself in rooms where you don't feel qualified, where you don't feel like you deserve to be there, because you're quickly going to adapt the beliefs of these individuals. And before you know it, you start to outgrow that room, and then it just happens indefinitely. There's nothing wrong with that, even on your spiritual path, to consistently place yourself in spaces where you outgrow it, because you're going to consistently outgrow your old frequency. Okay? So it's just so important to do that. And the way you do that is by getting into high-level masterminds, by having mentorship with individuals who have created more than you have, who have created the success that you have, having the right friends. And I'm not saying to get rid of your friends and just change your whole life. That's going to be a shock to your nervous system. That's not going to signal safety. You're going to revert back. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. I'm just suggesting you trust the process as you are breaking up with your old frequency. Just trust the process, that the more you rest in the truth of who you are, in awareness and I amness, then everything will start to work itself out. Okay, just trust that. So to reiterate, to recap, the way to break up with your old frequency is knowing who you are, seeing resistance as an invitation so that you can make a new choice, so that you can make a better choice when you are presented in the resistance. Make a choice from the new frequency, and your network is everything. When you just surround yourself around winners, when you surround yourself around people who are in healthy relationships, when you surround yourself with people who have successful businesses, when you surround yourself around fit people, you're inevitably going to become one of them. So your old frequency is inevitably going to fall away, because the new frequency is going to get strengthened just by being in proximity to these other people. Okay. So that is all I got. My masterclass is this Saturday. And if you're watching this after the masterclass, then definitely still click that link down below, because then you'll get the replay for the masterclass. And that is all I got for y'all. I'm so excited. Let me know if you guys like the skit in the beginning, if you guys like this video, if you like the style of me having the iPad and demonstrating in that way. I have to get another pen. This pen is not compatible with this iPad, which is why a lot of the writing was coming and going. So we will work on getting another pen. And that is all I got for you guys. I love you, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.